Hello and welcome to another session of Talking Faith, the weekly devotional where Cal and I spend some time discussing through areas of faith in our lives where God has been working in our hearts and just exploring that a little bit together. Today we hope, just as we're doing, that you have time to sit down with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee just to relax during the day and also to be able to think through how these subjects that we discuss are affecting you in your life and in your walk with the Lord today. So Callum, what's been on your mind recently?
Well, one of the things that I've been thinking about a little bit of late is the idea of wonder, or more the lack of opportunity for it of late. Like, I don't know about you, but I do actually know about you, but for most of the folks at home, we've been stuck at home a lot, particularly in the kind of context of lockdown. Travel is limited, but even when things were a bit more lax, there's not really that much of an opportunity to get outside, to explore. I feel like in a lot of the conversations I have with people, I don't have very many new stories to tell because not much has happened. I mean, there's still been stuff that's happened, but there's not as much opportunity for discovery or for kind of just walking in nature or just getting that experience of things outside like this same bubble that is kind of almost repeating itself a little bit. And I think that's actually in some ways quite challenging because, to me at least, that wonder, that exploration of things slightly outside of the norm is really valuable, really, really important and healthy for us. So it's been kind of on my mind a little bit.
Yeah, I find finding opportunities to be able to go out and find wonder just becoming so lax. You're right, you're completely right. A friend of mine that's how he really got encouraged in life, was going and doing that. And you sort of wonder, what'd you do without it? So what about yourself? Like, when it comes to your personal experience with wonder, what does that look like?
So I was thinking of, I'm in the privileged position where I've done a lot of traveling over the years and seen a lot of wondrous things. One that stands out to me probably is one because it was very much unexpected. A couple of years back, some friends and I were traveling up the Outer Hebrides, kind of started at the bottom around kind of Barra and then making our way up towards Harris and Lewis. And on the way, one of the little islands that you stumble on, it's a very small island that you probably wouldn't expect too much of. No offense to the folks of Bernery, which is the little island there, but it's just a little island. It's got like a ferry port that takes you up to Harris, with a kind of small village to it. There's not a huge amount on the island, and we kind of expected it just to be an island that you would pass through along our journey as we were traveling up. But while we were there, we thought, okay, let's take a bit of time. We had some time before the ferry, so we thought, let's kind of go for a bit of a walk around the island. And so most of the stuff, the kind of port and such like, is on the east side of the island. But we knew that there was some kind of beach on the west, so we thought, let's go for a bit of a wander to try and find this beach. It took a bit of an effort to get there. We had to cross a fair amount of Macher to get across. There was a lot of flies on that journey, walking over some of the hills and stuff to get to the other side. But then when we got there, we were astonished. It is one of the most beautiful beaches I have seen in my entire life. Like, gorgeous golden sands that literally stretch for miles. The entire west coast of the island is just one gigantic untouched beach with basically not a soul on it because it's Bernery and it's out in kind of the middle of nowhere. But I remember just being kind of blown away by this wonderful thing that I didn't even know existed, had no knowledge of, but was very appreciative of just getting an opportunity to experience it, to just go for a little walk and a wander along this beach.
Well, my first question on that front is, how does that compare to Troon Beach? We've grown up next to the beach, but sometimes when you see something that's so different, it can be staggering to some degree. I remember back when working in Shetland, there's some similar moments. It does sort of take you a moment to sort of take it in and go, oh, this is beautiful, this is insane. When it comes to scripture, do you see moments like that in scripture?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of moments of scripture where there's this phrase "behold" that might come out, and something of the wonder of God is revealed in those kind of moments. There's one of the Psalms that I particularly like in that regard, which is Psalm 65. There's this verse within it which talks of the whole earth is filled with the awe of your wonder. Where the morning dawns, where the evening fades, you call forth and say of joy, and joy comes forth from that. And it's just this idea of discovering the wonders of creation, and that in that wonder we might discover a joy that comes from God, that can only really be revealed in God. And I think for me at least, I mean, not all of creation is wonderful. There are things that are worrying or fearful or terrifying or things like that. But those moments of awe and wonder, to me, reflect some of the best of the characteristics of God, that we can see something of Him in His creation. And I think that helps me a lot, at least, because it takes me out of where I'm at. There's a perspective thing going on. My problems, my challenges, the things that I'm facing in that moment, I guess, pale in comparison when taking a moment, taking a breath to look at these wondrous things. And in turn, I'm aware that these things pale in comparison to the beauty and the wonder of God. So it helps, at least me, find a different perspective, to see things maybe in a different way, to be reminded of the good, the wonder, the beauty that God has created all around us and placed in us. And that gives me joy, and that gives me hope. And I think that's really important for us, particularly in times like these when it's more hard to find.
Yeah. And I think seeing a little bit of God in creation, but then also on top of that, realising just how much bigger He is, definitely would take you out of the circumstance and realise, oh, okay, God is so much bigger than what I'm dealing with at the moment or what I'm facing. It definitely can be an encouragement. So for yourself, maybe it might be good to try find a space where you can go for a little bit of a walk outside and find something that might bring a little bit of awe and wonder in the surroundings around us. I know some of the walks we've been on have brought about that awe. Maybe not quite as much as the beach that you've been on, but you know, there's been some beautiful moments, and I think that can really help us reflect on who God is and how He can impact our lives. So hopefully that's brought something new into your heart today and gives you something to turn over the weeks ahead.